The WNBA playoffs should have been a defining moment for the league this year, but something feels off. The excitement that typically surrounds this time of the season is falling flat, and it's not hard to pinpoint why. Caitlin Clark, the electrifying guard whose play seemed to single-handedly inject energy into women's basketball, isn't even part of the show. It's like waiting for fireworks and instead getting a dim sparkler. The hype around her was real. She was the player people wanted to see, and now, with her eliminated before the postseason spectacle even kicked off, the ratings have taken a nosedive, and the WNBA might be in bigger trouble than it realizes. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Caitlin Clark's absence in the playoffs has been like pulling the rug out from under a carefully set table. Her ability to draw eyes to the screen is unmatched. Clark is a natural entertainer, combining outrageous skill with the type of brash confidence that attracts both die-hard basketball fans and casual viewers alike. She's not just a player, she's a show, an act you can't afford to miss. She has this swagger about her, on and off the court, that makes you want to keep watching. Without her, the WNBA playoffs feel like a half-eaten meal. Something is missing, and it's obvious to everyone. This wasn't the year the WNBA could afford to lose steam. The league has been fighting to grow its audience, and just when it seemed like Caitlin Clark could provide the magic spark to draw new interest, she's no longer part of the story. For a league that's been trying to crack into the mainstream sports scene, this feels like a massive setback. The ratings have reflected this disappointment, dropping to levels that are raising red flags. It's not a subtle decline either. It's a full-on freefall, and the absence of Clark is undeniably a huge factor in that. What makes this worse is the fact that the WNBA has long struggled with its playoff ratings, even in the best of times. Now, without Clark's electrifying presence, those struggles are amplified. It's a harsh reality that the league is facing. And all the players who are still in the playoffs are incredibly talented. None of them carry the same kind of star power that draws people in who wouldn't typically watch. Clark had the it factor, something that's difficult to define but easy to recognize when you see it. Without her, casual fans are tuning out, and even loyal supporters are finding it harder to stay engaged. Caitlin Clark's style of play is nothing short of mesmerizing. She's the type of player who can change the complexion of a game in the blink of an eye. She pulls up for shots that other players wouldn't even think about, and when the ball swishes through the net, the crowd goes wild. Her three-pointers are so deep that it feels like she's shooting from the parking lot. But it's not just her scoring, it's her playmaking, her vision, and her ability to command the court like she owns the place. She plays with a fearlessness that's infectious. People can't help but be drawn to that. When she's on the court, even people who aren't huge basketball fans find themselves saying, "Who is this?" The WNBA, unfortunately, doesn't have many players with that same level of magnetism. It's a league filled with talent, but the stars who can transcend the sport and bring in viewers from outside the hardcore fan base are few and far between. Clark is one of those rare players who doesn't just play the game, she sells it. The WNBA needed her in the playoffs, but she didn't make it, and now they're paying the price. On top of that, the league's marketing has leaned heavily on star power to attract viewers, and Caitlin Clark was central to that. Leading up to the playoffs, the anticipation around her presence was palpable. Social media was buzzing with highlight reels, interviews, and predictions of how Clark would light up the postseason. When she was eliminated, the air was sucked out of the room. It's one thing to lose a game, but to lose a player who carried so much of the league's momentum is a much harder blow to recover from. The WNBA's marketing machine was counting on her, and now they're scrambling to figure out how to hold people's attention without her. What's even more glaring is the fact that the WNBA doesn't have another player who can fill that void in the same way. Sure, there are other stars, but none of them have the same combination of charisma and skill that Caitlin Clark brings to the table. The players who are left in the playoffs are undoubtedly talented, but they don't have the same gravitational pull that makes people want to rearrange their schedules to watch them play. This is where the league's lack of depth in terms of star power becomes an issue. If one player's absence can cause this kind of drop in ratings, it's a sign that the WNBA still has a long way to go in building a stable of stars who can captivate audiences consistently. It's not just the ratings that have taken a hit, though. The overall energy surrounding the playoffs feels deflated. Even the social media engagement, which has been a key driver for the WNBA's growth in recent years, has noticeably dropped off. The memes, the highlight reels, the viral moments, everything has slowed down. Caitlin Clark was a walking highlight reel, and without her, the buzz just isn't there anymore. The excitement that typically comes with the unpredictability of playoff basketball has been replaced with a sense of resignation. Fans know they're missing out on something special, and it's affecting the way they're engaging with the league. This situation is a huge missed opportunity for the WNBA. Caitlin Clark was poised to be the breakout star the league desperately needed, someone who could bridge the gap between hardcore basketball fans and casual viewers. She had the potential to bring a new wave of attention to the WNBA playoffs, and now that she's out, that wave has receded. The league was on the verge of capturing the interest of a broader audience, but without Clark, they're struggling to keep the momentum going. In the world of sports, star power is everything. It's what drives ticket sales, merchandise, and most importantly, television ratings. The WNBA has some stars, but they don't yet have the depth of star power that other leagues enjoy. Caitlin Clark was their best chance at changing that, and now that she's not in the playoffs, the cracks in the league's foundation are starting to show. The WNBA has always faced an uphill battle in terms of capturing the public's attention, and this setback is a harsh reminder of just how far they still have to go. What the WNBA needs now more than ever is for another player to step up and capture the imagination of the fans the way Clark did. But that's easier said than done. Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent, and players like her don't come around often. The league can't manufacture that kind of star power. It has to happen organically. In the meantime, they're left trying to figure out how to keep people engaged without the one player who was doing most of the heavy lifting in that department. The WNBA is in a tough spot, no doubt about it. The playoffs should be a time when the league shines, but without its brightest star, it's struggling to keep the lights on, metaphorically speaking. The ratings crash is a clear indication that people are tuning out, and if the WNBA doesn't find a way to bring them back, this could be a significant setback for the league's long-term growth. Caitlin Clark's elimination from the playoffs was a shock to the system, and the league is still reeling from it. In sports, timing is everything, and the timing of Clark's absence couldn't have been worse for the WNBA. The league had been building momentum, and it seemed like this was going to be the year they finally broke through to a wider audience. Instead, they're left wondering what could have been. Caitlin Clark was the key to unlocking that next level of attention, but without her, the WNBA playoffs feel like a missed opportunity. The league is still fighting to establish itself in the crowded sports landscape, and this was supposed to be their moment. Instead, it's starting to feel like another reminder of just how fragile that progress can be. As the playoffs roll on, the absence of Caitlin Clark looms large. Fans can't help but feel like they've been robbed of the spectacle they were promised. And as the ratings continue to drop, the WNBA is left to pick up the pieces and figure out how to move forward. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if there's one thing we've learned from this year's playoffs, it's that Caitlin Clark's star power was more important than anyone realized. Without her, the WNBA is left searching for answers, and for viewers. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.